Hey everybody, today I've got some more sketchbook ideas for you. These ones can be pretty simple and pretty quick if you really want to get the creative juices flowing and just fill several pages in your sketchbook. You can see that I had it right in, and for the first page I am using watercolors here. I am using the White Nights watercolors. I really like them because they're very pigmented. They're student grade colors, I believe, so I don't feel that precious about wasting them because they're not that expensive, but they're expensive and good enough that they're really fun to use, and they're really pigmented. I'm currently using a mix of black and blue tones, so a very dark tones, and you can see that I am kind of doodling those silhouettes of little cats. I've been kind of obsessed with doodling cats lately. They're so fun and simplifying them a lot because you can still tell that it is a cat, even though it doesn't really have any limbs. It doesn't really have anything. It has ears and a super long body, and some of them have tails, like one of them has a tail at the moment, but you can still, or two have a tail at the moment, but you can still tell that these are cats. At least I hope you can. And I also added some pumpkins and fall stuff there because even though fall is almost over at this point, it is very inspiring and I really like the fall colors, so I added that. And also the black or dark cats give me Halloween vibes, and to be completely honest with you, I filmed this I think in September so it's been a while and I was so looking forward to Halloween this year. And yeah, I don't even know why. We don't really celebrate Halloween in my country. There's very little amounts of children that go from door to door, and you can rarely see somebody dressed up. It's just not a big thing here. I don't know if it is a bigger thing in the US still. I also feel kind of like it isn't really as big as it maybe was, but I don't know. I am not in the US. I've never spent Halloween there. So we did do trick or treating, I think, 2 years, but we were often the only children that did it, so it's not really a big thing here. But honestly, the reason why I like it is because I love all of the witchy, magical stuff, and it's really inspiring. And also, the cats in the background kind of look like they're ghosts or haunted or something. And I like it as long as it doesn't go into the horror movie thing. I like Halloween movies that are more funny than anything else and not really that scary. They can be a bit spooky, but just not too much. So I like more of this fun Halloween than the real scary movies. So you can see that this is the first page that I did here, and now I will be moving on to the one on the left side. I often work in my spreads from the right side to the left side because if the page on the right is still a little bit wet, then I will not dip my hand into it as much. So if you are left-handed, I really recommend drawing from right to left. I often even do calligraphy from right to left, and people absolutely freak out when I do this. When I write, I obviously write from left to right, but if I could, I would write in the other direction, honestly, because I hate smudging stuff. And I think every left-handed person can relate, especially here in Austria, in school, in elementary school, when you learn to write, you have to use fountain ink pens, and they smudge like absolute crazy when you're left-handed, and then you get points off from your grades. Your grade is worse when you smudge your stuff, and they do not care if you are left-handed or not. At least that's how I remembered it. I don't know if it was that severe, but for me as a little child, it really pissed me off that I got worse grades for writing. Like there's this thing where you have to write beautifully. It's really called that, writing beautifully, but in German. And then if you don't have beautiful writing, you're not getting as good of a grade. It's absurd looking back, kind of. But yeah, you can see here, I'm doing yet another Halloween spread, but I promise this is the last one in this video. And you can kind of maybe turn this into a non-Halloween thread. I don't know. But the idea here is to do kind of a very simple negative painting technique. So basically painting around the subject. And I have, my sketchbook is a little bit toned, so you can even see the white on it. My sketchbook has a light gray. This is a Hahnemühle watercolor sketchbook in the color gray. And it is not that dark of a gray, so you can't really see the white that well, but you can kind of see it. So I'm trying to play around with that sometimes, but you can easily do this on a white paper too. It really doesn't matter, honestly, because I painted around the ghosts anyways, and you can do all kinds of subjects. It doesn't have to be ghosts, but obviously that's what I did here. And I also did these weird swirls on the bottom of the page. I don't know what that is. Please don't ask me any questions about that. I just tried to fill the page, and I did these super simple doodly spooky ghosts. This is very simple and quick. So now I am using the Arrtx colored pencils. I got them in the mail and they are absolutely beautiful. The company sent me those, but they do not pay me to talk about them. And I have to admit, when I get PR samples, first of all, most of the time I say no to them because I have so many supplies already and I don't want to make videos for free. So if I'm not absolutely interested in the product, I will say no. But this time I was really interested because I've heard a lot about these. But I have to admit that when I get PR samples, this is free. So I don't care how much this costs. And I'm just a little bit more chill about the art supply. I will use it, might break it. I just don't care as much about it. I know that sounds horrible, but I've been using these markers so much more than my Faber-Castell Polychromos because I got these pencils, did I say markers? Because I got them for free. I just don't care. But also I have to say, because I don't care as much, I might not like free PR samples as much as stuff that I bought myself. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I know that every single YouTuber always claims that when they get stuff for free, that they will give an honest review still. I don't know how true that always is, but every single YouTuber always says that. I have to say that when I get something for free, but it's not a sponsorship, like here, I'm just getting it sent, then I'm often more strict with the supply than if I buy it myself. Because when I buy it myself and I have spent a lot of money on it, then I really want to like the supply because otherwise I will have wasted money. So with the Prismacolors, for example, I bought them myself with my money, so I want to like them. So I'm probably kinder in my assessment because I don't want to have wasted money. But with these, I don't care. I did not spend any money. So if I like these, I like them. And if I don't, I don't. I don't know if that makes any sense. But you can see that I swatched a bunch of them. This is just, I think, not even a fourth. Not even a quarter. Is it a quarter? Yeah, of the colors, because there's a lot of colors in this set. And at first I was using them. You can see in this video, I'm just using this sketchbook here. And this is watercolor paper. So They're a little bit rougher than on smoother paper, but it's not extremely rough paper. So I think it's okay for colored pencils. But I've also been using these now in the meantime off camera. I've been using them on other paper, more smooth paper, and I really, really love it on smooth paper because then they are very buttery and very soft. They're still kind of soft here on this paper, but not as much as on smooth paper. I know that goes for every single colored pencil, not just these. And I have to say that these are kind of an in-between almost between the Faber-Castell Polychromos and the Prismacolors because they're not as soft as the Prismacolors, but I feel like they might be a bit softer than the Faber-Castell Polychromos, but I have to test that because I haven't used the Polychromos in a bit. So I have to really test them side by side to be able to say that. But yeah, with these, I just don't feel so scared to use them. I know that these are also much more affordable than the Polychromos. I wouldn't say that these are necessarily better than them. They break a lot more than the Polychromos, so that's kind of what I mean when I say they're in between the Prismacolors, because the Prismacolors, they break like crazy. I've never had a colored pencil that breaks as easily as the Prismacolors. It's absolutely ridiculous. I still love them, but it is ridiculous. These break sometimes, not as intensely as the Prismacolors, definitely not. But the Polychromos, they break almost never. They're really sturdy, even though they kind of still feel a little bit soft. I hope that makes somewhat sense. I hope that you can do something with that kind of review. And what I've been creating here is basically a piece that is inspired by the names of the colors. I swatched these colors. I kind of swatched them in order, but I didn't get around to swatch all of the colors, so it's kind of useless that I did this, but I don't know. I just felt like swatching them, but then halfway through I gave up because it's just too many colors. But some of them were really related to the beach, and all of those colors reminded me of the beach and waves, and I wanted to do this kind of, I don't know if that's impressionistic, but it's just this very doodly styled piece. And you can kind of see the grit of the paper poking through the whites of the paper a little bit. I have to say that this page is maybe my least favorite of this video, so let's quickly move on to the next one, which I like a lot more. Here I'm also using these pencils, and here I like the piece that I created a lot more. The colors have, I have to say that some of them have really fun names. They have names from kind of crystals and other naturey stuff, like the jade blue and the peacock blue and the ocean blue. And I really enjoy these color names because they're kind of fun. Then there's also the normal colors like cerulean blue. And then there's true blue, which I feel like is not as fun as, for example, deep sky blue. I think is much more fun. Cornflower blue. I'm just here for the creative color names, and I don't even usually look at the color names of my colors, but these are kind of fun. And I have to say that the colored pencils also feel really nice in my hands. They feel a lot nicer than the Prismacolors in the way that they're kind of wrapped or made. I don't know how to say that, but from what they look like and how sturdy they feel, they really remind me of the Polychromos. And they also have these little stars on the sides, which is really fun. It's a fun detail. It's kind of useless, but it is fun regardless. Yeah, I really enjoy them. I have to say, I've been using them off camera. I've been really surprised because I have heard a lot about these and I was ready to not like them. I was really ready to use them a few times and then donate them, because that's what I've done with a lot of these supplies. But I will continue using them also because there's so many fun colors. The only thing that I don't really like is that the colored pencil, like the outside, doesn't really fully match what the colored pencil actually looks like. And I guess that's what often happens with more affordable supplies. It happens very often with markers. We all know that. So a swatch sheet can be really useful, but I am way too lazy to swatch and always look at my swatches. I just don't do that. I swatch as I go. I swatch, I look at a color and I ask myself whether I think that I will like it. Then I swatch it on my page or another piece of paper, and then if I like it, then I use it, if that makes sense. I don't really have a cohesive swatch list and look at that, because I just don't remember where I put it, and I don't want to do that. I don't do that with markers either. So I don't know where I'm going with this. You can see that I created some crystals here because I was again inspired by the color names, and I also painted a few flowers because the colors also reminded me of that. And there's also rose red and poppy red and a bunch of these colors, and so I wanted to do that too. And I also limited myself to only using those colors that I swatched here. And I really like this color scheme, I have to say. I don't think I would have picked this ever in a million years, this combination of the pinks and oranges and the blues, but I really enjoyed this. So I might be using this color scheme again in the future. And yeah, I just filled the page again with some doodles. For my personal taste, I would have preferred if you could see the white of the paper poking through a little bit less. But then if I press the pencils down too harshly, I will pay the price because my wrists will hurt a lot. So I did not do that. Also because this is the 6th page that I'm doing in this video, so I did not have the grit in my wrist to press down harder, and they're not as smooth as the Prismacolor colored pencils. That's a mouthful. But I have to say that the Prismacolors are also not that smooth on that paper, because this is again a watercolor paper, and yeah, it's okay for colored pencils. I mean, these are the sketchbooks that I'm currently filling. I have 3 watercolor sketchbooks that I'm currently filling, so I want to use those. And I am very close to buying another sketchbook that's more suitable for colored pencils. I'm very close to it, but I am working on 3 watercolor sketchbooks right now, and I have a really small marker sketchbook, so we will see. This is the page spread here, and if you're interested in more creative art ideas, then check out this video next.